Let me talk about before the Star Trek fans start to send bomb threats to my house. I have to talk about one book that I read, and that is Rare Flavors #1 and 2, Flavors with an OU because it's British or something. It's the non-American spelling. This is by
The
Ram
wrong
V.
spelling.
What's that? What do you
The
call
wrong spelling.
Oh, okay.
The
Uh,
wrong spelling.
this is by Ram V and Filipe Andrade. Letters by And World Design. This is basically just another banger from the series that brought us The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. If you didn't read that book, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you should go read it. It's awesome. But the story in this book is about Ruben Baksh, a demonic Rakshasa on a mission to make a great documentary about food. But, he's got to eat a few people along the way. And that's a very, very simple summary of what this book is. Ruben Baksh is basically like this very just large, almost like Kingpin in Spider-Man, the animated movie, sized character who kind of lives
Sort of rectangle.
He's just like a big circular man with a little tiny head. He wears these little glasses. It's almost cartoonish, but I think once you start reading this book, you can see that Andrade is like leaning into like very exaggerated features about everybody. So like Baksh approaches a guy, his name is Mo, about creating this documentary for him. Mo has a history of film, but he's reluctant to do it because he never aspired or never actually succeeded in being a filmmaker. But for some reason, Ruben believes that he should be the person making this film. Ruben is this humongous kind of person, and I think that's kind of an implication of like a couple of things. Like he's a very large personality. He is a demonic Rakshasa who eats people, and historically it seems like this whole comic takes place in India. Historically, it seems that their Rakshasa are just these humongous beings in general. So to bring him down to like a human scale, he's still very large. But Mo, on the other hand, is kind of just this thin line of a man. So to see them side by side is kind of comedic. And especially when you see Ruben near other people in general, it's kind of just like almost cartoonish in the way that Andrade depicts all the different people, because there are people that are very like triangle or upside down triangle shaped men, or like very rounded women, but they're not like, it's not like to draw them in like a quote unquote sexy way. It's that just like everybody has a definitive shape, and everything is very exaggerated about them. There's two other characters in the book that we meet. I don't really want to go into the details there because it's kind of spoilery, but those two characters are also kind of cartoonishly drawn. So like, I feel like with this book compared to The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, which while it still has Andrade's like very flat, cartoony style, this book feels even more exaggerated in its look. And I think that's because this whole book is based around a lot of like mythical and fantastical things on top of being a food comic book, because Ruben's whole thing is to find the greatest food that he's ever had and make a documentary about it. So the first issue is about chai. The second issue is about a specific like dish that uses a very particular pepper that they have to go find out in the desert. It's really, really well done. And I think like if you've ever read a Ram V book before, you know that this guy has a way with how he crafts stories that has like this soft, poetic feeling that gets you settled in whatever world you're going to be reading in like very fast, and you get a deep understanding of every single one of the characters that are involved quickly. This book is no different, and the thing that flabbergasted me about this one in particular is how short these issues are. Like they are 23, 24 pages. And I felt like I was getting 48 pages of content. And it's or of comic book. And it's not even like the story takes long to read. It's just, there is a richness to this book that very few other comic books I think are able to nail, the way that Ram V and Filipe Andrade are able to combine together in their storytelling capabilities. I really liked how much we get to know our two main characters, as well as these little minor characters, with just a couple of interactions between the two of them, a couple of captions that are so well crafted. I was just blown away by this. So I don't really know what else to say about this book other than I freaking loved it, but that's kind of a given the creative team on it. They really knocked these first two issues out of the park, and I'm very excited to see, now that we've gotten over the hump of this question mark of who really is Ruben Baksh in the first two issues, I'm very excited to see where the rest of this book goes, because I loved the way that issue 2 ended, and I cannot wait for the rest of it. If you decide to wait for this book, that sucks, because this reads very well issue to issue, but I read 1 and 2 back to back, and I really liked like how they flowed together at the same time. So I don't know, this is going to be a great read for anybody who wants to get it.
How scary is this book on the scale of 1 to 10 scary? Because the preview sounded pretty scary.
I mean, like, there's an implication that human beings are getting eaten, but like, other than some off-panel remarks, it's really not like blood and guts, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of implication, right? Like, that's the thing that I think is really interesting about this book, is that at no point do Andrade or Ramvi go directly into saying like this person is like getting devoured and blah 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 blah. I mean, like, I feel like this is PG-13 in terms of like the quote unquote horror elements that are mentioned, right? People talk about the idea of a person getting eaten. Their characters talk about eyes getting cut out of faces, but you never see any of that, right? It's not like, let's spend 6 issues showing how this person, or 6 pages showing how this person got cut up. It's like off panel, something happened and somebody goes, oh, I think that guy got eaten. Like, oh, okay. So if you can't deal with the concept of that, maybe this isn't for you, but it's not graphic by any means.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, you said that just made me think of it as like fun water cooler talk. Like, oh yeah, you're about Ted? Yeah, Ted got eaten.
I mean, that's kind of how 2 of the characters approach it in this book. I'll say that. But, anyways, this book is awesome. Highly recommend it if you're looking for something off the beaten path. Yeah, and the covers for these single issues are mind-blowing. Like, Andrade is knocking it out of the park with these covers. The interiors are great, but I really, really like the covers of this book. They're very, like, soft and almost intimidating at the same time, because they all, so far, the first 2 issues have featured Ruben Baksh, and he's just a character that you're just like, I don't know, he's kind of scary just in his presence. That's all I'll say. So
I would describe him as unsettling.
Yeah. Perfect.
The guy looks like, especially with the glasses, he looks like the bad guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
He
looks like there's the Shadow King from the X-Men, who's also a character who kind of looks like this. But anyways, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about comics on the top of our pile and whatever other random things that may come up. Especially, I have some questions about Star Trek, maybe, that we'll go into. So we'll be back in a second. Cool.